So the first Woman of the Year for me has to be Giselle Pellico. Now, I've spoken about her on, I would love to speak to her. I've spoken about her on a few episodes this year because I have been in awe of this woman. If you don't know Giselle Pellico, she is at the center of it. Well, is she at the center of the case? Yeah, she is. She's at a center of a case in France, which is, I think, maybe one of the biggest cases, I would say, that France has had in relation to sexual assault. And she is at the center of that case. It is a harrowing story. But in a very, very, very small nutshell, Giselle has been married to her, I believe they're still married now, but they've been married for like 50 odd years, only for her to find out just by the universe showing her that something was up. She found out that her husband of 50 odd years, his name is Dominique Pellico, has just been drugging her and inviting men to the home to do unspeakable things to her. That's a summary. That's what's happened. And so the case is being called Mr. Everyman case because of the 50 men who he invited to the family home while she was drugged. They are from all walks of life. Like, they are firefighters, they are postmen, they are neighbors, they are Mr. Everyman, right? And she's gone into this trial. The trial has been going on for, I think it must be about 6 weeks by now. I'm hoping that there is a before I'm recording this, obviously before the end of the year, but I'm hoping by the end of the year that there is a verdict given. And I hope that verdict is guilty to all of them and they all spend the rest of their lives in prison. But, let's see what happens. We know that sometimes these cases don't ever get the results that we need. But the way Giselle has handled herself during this case, it doesn't even make sense to me. I am in awe of this woman. And she's basically said, like, the shame is not here with me, the shame is with them. And she has put the shame back on the men who have done this to her. So she is definitely my number one. She should have been like Times Person of the Year. I don't know why she wasn't. I believe they gave that to a orange man in America, but she is definitely number one here for me. So Giselle Pellico is number one Woman of the Year for me. The second Woman of the Year in my eyes is Coco Gauff. I am in love with her. Like, I don't even watch tennis that much. I don't. Let me just be honest with you. I don't watch tennis unless it's Serena or Coco. I will then tune in to see what's going on, purely to see what is going on. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. Tennis is not my go-to sport, but Coco is 19 years old. Also, when I was reading up for today's episode, I was like, oh, she must be like in her like mid-20s. Like, she is 19 years old and I'm reading that she is the highest paid female athlete. At 19 years old, you're already the highest paid female athlete. I can only, and literally just killing it. It's amazing. It's amazing. I know that you start playing tennis when you're quite young. Like, I know that that's what people do. Like, I definitely watched the Serena Williams movie. Was it King Richard, about how she got into tennis and stuff? I don't know if Coco's story is different to that, but Coco is doing amazingly. She's 19. She is literally killing it. She's making all her money. She seems sensible. Seems like she's got her head screwed on, knows what she's doing, knows where she's going. Must really have a very strong support network around her. I love it for Coco. She's definitely on the Phenomenal Women Club Women of the Year because she's just doing so well. And the fact that she has got, she's so young, I don't even, where will she go? There's so much potential there with her. I'm really excited to see where Coco gets to. But she's definitely on the list of Women of the Year. Now, I only found out about this woman very recently. I was listening to an episode of No, I was not listening to that podcast. I was listening to Paul Brunson's podcast, and he had what's her name? Cindy Gallop. he had Cindy Gallop on, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of Cindy Gallop. Let me listen to this episode. And she blew my mind so much that she is also in the list of Women of the Year. Cindy Gallop, for those who don't know, is like a women's rights, body empowerment founder of an organization called Make Love Not Porn. And she's doing a lot of work to challenge the porn industry. She's doing a lot of work to challenge the myths and misconceptions that people have about women and sexuality and identity. And honestly, she is a babe. If there's somebody who you want to go out for a drink with, it's probably Cindy. That was my thinking as I listened to the podcast. I was like, if there is somebody I want to go out for a drink with, go and have dinner with, it's Cindy. It will be an absolute brilliant night. She is so knowledgeable. She is so clear in her convictions. She is the mentor that every woman should have, and I love it for her. So she made such an impression. I was like, she has to go on the Phenomenal Woman of the Year list. Like she just has to. She just has to. And I mean, I need you guys to go and research her, go and follow her on the socials, go and listen to Paul Brunson's episode with her, because her outlook is just so refreshing, and you don't really hear her outlook, and you don't really hear women talk about relationships the way that she does. So I love that perspective that she brings. I'm a huge fan of Cindy. I'm following her everywhere now. So I mean, all the women that I'm going to list, all the women that I talk about, I'd love to have conversations with them. But yeah, I'm speaking that as well, that one day I will be able to sit down with Cindy and have a conversation with her about all the things. And I think it would be such a good conversation. But yeah, Cindy Gallop is definitely on the Phenomenal Women of the Year list. Clearly, I've been listening to a lot of Paul Brunson, because this was another guest that he had on who blew my mind. Paul gets all of the good guests, clearly. Dr. Judith Joseph. She is a psychiatrist and a mental health specialist, expert. Brilliant. She is she's Trini, so Caribbean girl, who, again, just accolade after accolade, every degree, master's, doctorate, everything. Obviously, she's a doctor. So learned, so excellent, so brilliant. And she's a specialist in talking about high functioning depression. And I was like, wow. I can't believe that hasn't been a phrase or a diagnosis that has been widely understood. Like, I would assume that high functioning depression is something that would be very well understood, but it's not. And Dr. Judith is doing everything to make sure that people understand what it is and how to treat it, how to understand it, and also how to recognize high functioning depression in yourself. And I was like, if there's any demographic that is more likely to be high functioning depressed, it's women. Go and research Dr. Judith. Go and research everything that woman is working on, because she is absolutely brilliant. She when she was talking to Paul, I was like, this all makes sense. This all makes sense. And she explains how being highly functioning depressed could present, and how that's different to different forms of depression. Really helpful. She is on the list for me, definitely on the list for the Phenomenal Women Women of the Year. Just brilliant. What I cannot believe is that we either had an Olympics this year. 2024 has been such a fast year, but such a slow year all at the same time. Because how was Paris Olympics this year, please? How did that happen this year? The other woman I would like to add to the list is, drumroll please, Rebecca Andrade. So again, I love me a bit of gymnastics, but only really at the Olympics. Don't know why, but I get into it. You need to see what Simone Biles is going to do something. Rebecca Andrade came this year and came and gave Simone a little bit of a run for her money. I absolutely loved it. And to see them, like, there's so much unity between the two. I was so impressed. Then to find out that Rebecca is like from Brazil. She went on to win, I think, 6 medals. She like trained in the like favelas. Her story is so brilliant. Against all the odds, you are now at the Olympics, winning medals alongside Simone Biles. It's so inspirational. She had to make it onto this list. And again, young, we're going to see where she gets to as well. I'm really interested to see where Rebecca gets to, but I'm so impressed with her. So yes, Rebecca Andrade is also on the Phenomenal Woman of the Year list. And finally, and in no way least, my final Woman of the Year is going to be Madison Tevlin, who is an actor and a model, and you may know her from her campaign Assume That I Can, that got over 50 million views. I saw that campaign. I don't think I knew who she was, but I saw the campaign and I was like, oh, this campaign's sick. She's got Down syndrome. She's literally pushing all of the boundaries, challenging all of the myths, and letting everybody know that she can do as much as anybody else can do. She's been on some big campaigns this year. When I was like researching for this episode, I was like, when you know someone's face but you haven't clocked what it is that they're doing, that's Madison. Like, you will know her, you will know what she's up to. She is somebody to watch. Madison Tevlin is my final lady woman of the year for me. Doing great things. And what an amazing campaign that got so much. It was so good. It was it became so popular because she's so right to challenge the idea of what people who are special educational needs or have Down syndrome or whatever, what they can do. And it really challenged people. She's amazing for that. So that is my list of the Phenomenal Women Club Women of the Year. What a year 2024 has been, and I'm really excited about what 2025 is going to bring.